Samurai with us. Say hi, Beer Samurai.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Happy New Year to you, Tom.
We're back at the pub again, man.
Yes, it's been what, a year?
Yeah, you were my very first guest.
I was very honored to have been so as well, and honored to be back.
Well, great, and I've had your partner in crime on a few times as well,
Well, that guy?
Mr. Jersey John. Yeah, we've talked about cocktails. So when we talked about having being back at the pub again, I didn't know what direction you wanted to go. If you wanted to go beer, cocktails, and you decided to do something completely different. So tell us what you got going on.
Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little, very very little trip around the world because I'm only drinking like three things tonight. I'm gonna start off with a beer, but I'm gonna start off in the U.S. and I'm gonna start very very local. Then I'm gonna jump not all the way across the pond, but like a rest area across the pond, and then I'm gonna go all the way to the Pacific and hit some things that they drink in those places. So let's start with the beer. I'm gonna start with my beer. And one thing is, Tom, in honor of, because this is your anniversary show, right?
Uh-huh.
In honor of your anniversary show, I am debuting something today.
Oh my gosh! All right, what do you got? You got fancy underwear or something?
Well, I'd have to stand up. I'm not going to stand up. And how do you know I'm not wearing pants? Anyway, I for my 25th anniversary in the company that I work for, I was able to select gifts. And the two of the gifts, I ordered two of the same thing, were sterling silver beer mugs.
Oh my Lord!
Straight balling. But I've had them for a little while. I sent them out and I just got them back. And if you can see there.
Oh my God, that's insane. That is amazing.
I got the Beer Samurai logo hand engraved on this.
Cool.
So I'm debuting them here. This is the first beer I've poured into them, Tom.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome.
So had to do it for your anniversary show. I'm like, what a better place to do it than there. So and what I'm pouring. So like I said, I'm going to start really, really local. So not too far from us is actually a hot dog place called Rutt's Hut. Now, Rutt's Hut, if you're a hot dog and fish aficionado and you follow all the news streams and what's the best hot dog in the country, year after year after year, it's Rutt's Hut.
Really? Okay.
And we don't live too far from it. They're famous for something called the Ripper, which is it's like almost a Thuman's kind of hot dog that they throw into hot oil and they fry it until the skin rips open.
Oh, wow.
That's what and they're also famous for their mustard relish that you can slather all over it. I like something called the Weller. The Weller, they leave it in there a little longer so the meat inside the hot dog starts to cook a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And that starts to char a little bit. I mean, it's all cooked, but it just starts to char a little bit. So that's cool. But across the street from it are these guys, Ghost Hawk Brewing Company.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We love these guys. We've had them on the show. They're really good with English and German styles. Yes, they had their IPAs and their double IPAs on because, as we've said it before on our podcast, you got to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
But what I have here, and it's been in my fridge for a little bit. I figured, well, let's kill this finally. It's called Leaves Turning, right? I think it's called Leaves Turning. I always screw up the name of this particular beer. This is, as it says, and you can see from the label, it is an autumn beer.
Okay.
Leaves turn. There's no turning. It's just leaves turn.
Makes sense. Okay.
Leaves turn, and it's a fall brown. So it's a British style brown. But they've ramped up a lot of the flavors to give you kind of that sense of that smell you get when you're raking leaves and you're turning everything up.
Sweat and worms.
Man, I love this beer. It's got an amazing character to it, good body. And I know it's true to the style sometimes. But I get so disappointed when I order a brown at a brewery, they pour it, and it is so thin. That disappoints me, and I get it that it's within the style guide for it to be a little lower in mouthfeel. But I prefer the brown approaching more of a porter mouthfeel for me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. What are you drinking?
So in keeping, so I had no idea what I was going to pick. We had a little snafu with the time zone, but I
Yeah.
wanted to try to keep it in line with your international thing. So, but I had to do it on the fly and work with what I had. So I grabbed this one. So here's my international, my first trip. This is from Boulevard Brewing out of Kansas City, but the international part of
Oh,
this,
I love them.
is their Vietnamese coffee inspired imperial porter.
Oh, nice.
It's a porter with coffee, chicory, cinnamon, and lactose, aged in brandy barrels.
Oh, wow. So you're basically jumping across the Pacific before you're into Asia. I'm gonna end in Asia. You're starting in Asia.
I'm going to start there, yeah.
We're gonna chase each other around the globe, Tom.
If you were going to start with beer, so I wanted to start with beer with you.
There you go.
Boy, look at that. That pours beautiful. It's 12.8%. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful.
All these,
I can't show you mine because it's in silver.
That is these Boulevard limited release, man. These are always incredible.
Yeah, is that part of the Smokehouse Smokestack series?
Smokestack, yeah.
Yeah, I love the Smokestack series.
Oh wow, that nose is crazy.
One of my favorite ever wheat wines was in their Smokestack series.
Oh yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, wheat wine is one of those very dividing kind of styles. It's barley wines not as dividing, but wheat wine, some people just absolutely hate them.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I love the wheat wine. Oh wow.
Get a lot of coffee in that nose, huh?
Yeah, a lot of coffee, a lot of others. I think when I pick it up, I was getting kind of a bitter note. I think what I'm getting is the chicory.
That would be the chicory, yep. But it also could be the roasts. If they're using black patent,
you're gonna
get bitterness.
Wow, that is incredible.
Show us that bottle again, Tom. Because we do get Boulevard out here, but we don't always get the Smokestack series. Imperial Porter. Okay. I'll have to take a gander for it at some of my favorite places.
Yeah, I actually picked it up by accident a couple months ago when we were in the area.
Seems like a happy accident there.
It does. So they had it at this liquor store. We were going to a different liquor store, found one liquor store by accident, and I didn't even look to see what was in this particular pack. I just grabbed it and bought it because I always love what these are. So.
Oh, you can't go wrong with Boulevard. I don't think I've ever had a bad beer from them.
Oh man, this is nice. At 12.8, man, you really don't taste it.
I don't think I mentioned what the ABV is on this because I don't. I mean, I drink this all the time, so.
Oh my God, that was incredible.
I don't see the ABV. It's got to be on here. It's state law. It has to be on there. There it is, 6.7%. It looks like very, very small font. So you've almost doubled me there. You said it's 13 what?
12.8.
12.8. So you've almost doubled me. 13.4 would be double.
You'll probably catch me on your next offering.
Oh, more than likely.
So how's it going? How were the holidays for you?
I was sick pretty much all the holidays.
Were you really? Oh, it seems like everybody was. My wife was down during Christmas as well.
No, it started just before Thanksgiving. Lasted straight through Christmas. It didn't keep me from celebrating, of course, because when something lasts that long, you just kind of suck it up and you don't be a crybaby about it. Got better just before New Year's. Actually went to a football game on New Year's Eve. Celebrated New Year's. Got up the next day, and it wasn't the over celebration. It was COVID. I got hit with the next day. So it's that took me down for another week. So I've been sick on and off for about the last 3.5 weeks, Tom. And actually, thank God it is gone now. And I got to keep it.
Are you feeling better now? But did you have a touch of the flu or just kind of everything?
I think the Thanksgiving, Christmas was the flu, and then the right after New Year's was COVID.
Oh, God. Oh, you got COVID again. Gosh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got COVID again. We all had it. We all had it here. So it is what it is, and I'm gone. I'm over it. So moving on, and we got lots of stuff to drink in 24.
Yeah, I was sick just after Thanksgiving. I think I had a little touch of the flu, and then it kind of turned into a sinus infection.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time I got over everything, my wife was sick all through Christmas and just started feeling better right about New Year's.
Wow.
Seems like it hits every year about that time.
Yeah, it was something else. But other than that, the holidays were nice.
Well, good.
Got to, Carrie did all the cooking for Thanksgiving. I did the cooking for Christmas. And it was just, all apps on New Year's Eve, as it should be. Apps and alcohol.
No alcohol New Year's Eve?
No, apps and alcohol.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Oh, yeah, apps and I got you.
I love the little tag under your name there. Don't look, Ethel. That's from the streak, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I love the fact that, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but you spelled Ethel wrong. You spelled it like alcohol.
Yes, yeah. I think it was more of a brain thing, but yeah, it kind of works anyway, though. Yeah.
Well, you got so much Ethel in that brain; it's just leaking out into your fingertips when you type there, Todd.
Oh, I just hit F. That's all. Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't spell the name; I spelled the gas. But anyway,
do you get the reference in the tag I put up there?
I'm having trouble reading it. Good luck.
Good luck, Mr. Gorski.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know the urban legend behind that?
I'm not sure. I feel like I know the name, but I'm not putting it together.
It's tied into the moon landing.
Oh yeah, okay.
This one. I'm going to try to keep this as clean as possible, but when he was about 10 years old, this is an urban legend. It was never verified. Neil Armstrong was playing in his backyard, and he heard the neighbor, Mr. Gorski, and his wife arguing. And Mr. Gorski was trying to cajole his wife into oral sex.
Oh, okay.
And she said, "I'll give you oral sex when that kid next door walks on the moon." So apparently,
I hope Mr. Gorski got lucky.
Well, that's what the thing is. When Neil Armstrong went on the moon, apparently he said, "Good luck, Mr. Gorski." We know it's not true. We know that. But it still makes for a great story.
Oh, you really want it to be true, don't you?
You really want that. Well, what do they say? Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as long as you caveat it, all's fair.
Oh, mercy. So what's going on in your neck of the woods this weekend? It's colder than hell here. We don't really have anything falling at the moment, but it's supposed to get real ugly starting tomorrow. But it's been just colder than hell.
Well, I know that I know that all the fans watching the Kansas City Miami game will be freezing their nibbies off.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful, isn't it?
-4 degrees, I think it's going to be.
Oh, it's gonna be rough in KC tomorrow. Yeah?
And you know damn well there's gonna be idiots out there with no shirts on.
I would like to think that would favor KC, but you never can tell.
You never can tell, but I really think, I think KC's gonna be able to handle Miami. That's of all this week's games, I think that might be the most competitive. You look at the Philly Tampa one. If Tampa beats Philly, goodbye Soriano. They will fire him. He will be done.
Well, Philly's got to be the favorite, right?
Well, you got to remember the lowly Giants, my team, actually beat them in the last game of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Soriano kept all of his starters in the game because he was trying for home field advantage.
Oh, I do remember that now.
A.J. Brown got hurt, will not be available for the game this weekend. And,
oh, no.
He's one of their top players that you're in the playoffs. You've got it locked down. You're trying. I get that you're trying for home field advantage, but you
got to keep your players healthy.
Got to keep your players healthy. So it was really kind of neat to watch my Giants finally take down the Eagles. And we didn't even have to have the asterisk that they didn't start everybody. Because they did. So we actually did beat them, and this is the best the Giants looked all year. So happy with that. The game that I went to, and I believe you're a Rams fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the game that we went to that we saw was the Giants playing the Rams. You guys eked that one out. And that's because our quarterback had the 2-point conversion, had the game won, and threw it at his receiver's heels.
Yeah.
If he had thrown that ball about 3 feet higher, the Rams would probably not be in the playoffs. And not for nothing, Tom, I know people are high on the Rams this year, but the way they played against the Giants, they had better play a lot better if they're going to go any further. They're deep.
And Detroit's kind of been their kryptonite.
Yeah, Detroit's looking good. So don't have a lot of hope for them. They should have played a lot better against the Giants. Their defense did not impress me whatsoever, and defense wins championships.
I can't quite figure out McVay. There are games that he looks like a genius, and then sometimes I'm scratching my head going, what the fuck is he thinking?
Well, that was like Lincoln Martindale, our defensive coordinator as well, who now has left the team. Our defensive coordinator left the team because they fired some of his assistant coaches without his permission, so he walked.
Okay.
Fair enough. So we'll see what the defense was the Giants' bright spot this past year, except for those couple of weeks where Tommy Cutlets had his moment in the sun.
I was worried about your buddy there a few weeks.
Oh, because he didn't post at all?
I thought he was going to have an aneurysm a couple of weeks.
Oh, there's that one. Yeah, we're talking about Jersey Johnny. He tends to really like to go off. And as Tom knows, I run an over-under about his Facebook shenanigans during the game and what he posts. It actually came down to a tie this year because he didn't post at all during the last game. He didn't post at all. So I actually wound up texting his girlfriend and doing a wellness check. It's like, is he okay? He's not posted anything. But basically what it was is like he had nothing to complain about. The team looked good for a change. So he didn't have to go off on Facebook.
Well, funny thing is, I'll be honest, I really don't follow it that close anymore. But usually on Sundays, I'm looking at what he posts because
it's hilarious.
I'll be in my chair cracking up, and my wife says, "What are you reading or what are you doing?"
Well, the funny thing is, we have a Facebook group for it, and what we decided to do this year in the off season is allow John into the group until the season begins, and then we boot him back out again because we don't want him to see. Well, we don't want him to see what the bets are because that might influence the bets, right?
Harsh, man. Man, that's harsh.
So he's in it now, but like I said, you're going to be booted. You'll be booted out like an invasive species come the beginning of the season.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So unceremoniously booted out, as we put it.
There are times I wish that he would do selfies of himself when he pits those. So I want to see if that vein on his neck is about to bust.
I've seen it. It is not pretty. It's not pretty. It's not a pretty thing. Looks good kill, as they say. But man, so weather. You're talking about the weather there. Yeah, you guys are in a massive cold snap. Mm-hmm. It's really I don't think it's gonna hit us. I mean, we're gonna get down to maybe 25 on Wednesday. That's it, which isn't close to what's hitting you guys.
We've been we're 15 today, dear. I think the last she looks 15, but so you're going to get even colder tomorrow.
Yeah. So, but what we are getting right now, and I don't know because my mic picks up everything. If you hear some sort of whistling, that's the wind. We're as the Germans say, sehr windisch today. Very windy. Very windy. I'm trying to learn German because I don't know if you know this. I'm going to go to Germany this year.
Oh, good luck. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun in April. It's going to be for my birthday. So
14 right now.
Wife says it's 14 as we speak.
14.
Negative 4 by sunlight.
Going to be -4 by sunrise.
Yeah, there you go. It's woof.
So Tom happens to have the weekend off, though. I'm off today, tomorrow, and hopefully Monday as well. So I don't plan on getting outside for a damn thing. I stocked up on beer, whiskey, and all the food I need, so we're good.
Oh, I've got more beer than I know what to do with right now. This unit back here is supposed to be all records. Mm-hmm. I haven't because this right here is this is a record player. For those younger members of the audience, these are these pieces of vinyl with grooves in it that a needle would go around and transfer it into music. And nostalgia has it that we all still love these things. So Carrie got me this for Christmas, so I got some of my my vinyl out of storage. I plan on getting the rest of it, but for now, it's holding my beer overflow. And I've got to see Jersey Johnny tomorrow, speak of the devil, and get. I put a huge order into Treehouse with him. He was blowing through Treehouse.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So his car is full of my beer. I've got to get that, but also got to get beer for our next show on Tuesday. We're going to have Efren Hidalgo from Providence Brewing Company.
Oh, awesome. Wow.
Oh, Efren, this will be Efren's third time on the show. He's one of our favorite guests. He's got a really weird sense of humor, and we love that.
Well, you have me on there, so it kind of without saying.
So you know. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's been quite windy. We've had a couple of rainstorms. We got some flooding going on in the area. Nothing major. I mean, the governor does a state of emergency, and we're like, yeah, okay, whatever. We just know you just don't hit your brakes when you're going through a puddle.
Yeah. Well, going back to the music a little bit, of the record specifically, at the brewery, I was talking with a friend about, various albums, and we were talking about B-sides. And we found ourselves having to explain what a B-side is. What's a B-side? Well, you didn't used to have all 10 songs all together. You had 5 songs here or 5 songs there.
The funny thing is, one of the better-known Led Zeppelin songs was a B-side, and it's Fool in the Rain.
Yeah.
And I forget what it was a B-side to, but it was a B-side. And there's so many great songs. I remember The Cure put out a whole album, which was just a compilation of all the B-sides.
So I got a joke that my favorite song from any given band is usually the second or third song on the B-side. So I got a friend at the brewery, and he says, Tom, when you put a playlist, because they let us play our own music, he says, Tom, when you put a playlist together, do you look at the album and say, okay, let me find the one song that I know nobody will know? I was do it on purpose, but it kind of doesn't work out that way, because he says, I know all the artists you're playing, but I haven't heard any of the songs before.
Well, in our day, that was referred to as album-oriented rock.
Yeah, the AOR,
AOR format.
Yeah, the AOR, man, yeah.
I was a disc jockey in college, and the program director at one point said to me that he refers to my show as the, oh God, I know this song. Who the hell does this show? Because everything you play, I remember from years ago, but I just can't remember who the hell did the song.
Yeah, that's funny.
You play the Doobie Brothers. I'm probably playing China Grove. Actually, what's interesting is China Grove back in the day was not one of their biggest hits. It became a much better known song after the fact.
Well, yeah, again, through album rock, because, AM radio stations were playing it, but it wasn't a top 40 hit.
Nope.
But album stations were playing it, album rock stations.
Oh, yeah, another example, like if I played The Who, I'm not playing Baba O'Reilly. I'm probably playing My Wife.
Yeah.
Right, or Boris the Spider.
Boris the Spider, that's a great tune. I love Boris.
So there's, I'm getting into some of the deeper
cuts.
Funny. They call them deep cuts now.
Deep cuts, yeah.
Right. Jethro Tull. I wouldn't play Aqualung on my show.
Oh no, I've been playing Hymn 43.
Hymn 43 is probably one of my favorite songs there. But I would actually one time on my show I played My God.
Oh yeah.
Which is the first song on the B-side, because that whole B-side was called My God. And I got a couple of nasty calls from Bible thumpers in on that one. It was an interesting show, I tell you that. Funny.
We recently, I guess it's been a few weeks ago now, lost arguably the greatest DJ of all time. Jim Ladd recently passed away. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, but I mean,
that's gotta be regional for you, right?
Well, California, but it was rumored that the Tom Petty song "The Last DJ" was written about him.
Okay.
Jim Ladd was just huge in California. I mean, he was just, but he had syndicated shows that went across the country.
See, I was more familiar with, and I grew up on Scott Muni. They called him the Professor. He was one of my favorites. Tom Herrera, Joe Bonadonna out of Philadelphia was another one.
Oh,
there were some great ones. Alison Steele, who started off on this New York, one of the New York stations, and then became one of the disc jockeys on one of those early streaming channels.
Ladd had a national syndicated show called Interview. You may have.
Say his name again.
It was called Interview.
No,
Jim
Jim Ladd.
Ladd, Ladd.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Bland. Jim
No,
Ladd.
no,
Yes, no,
Ladd.
I've heard of Jim Ladd. Okay. Gotcha.
So what's next on your drinking list?
It's
What do you
poured. It's poured already.
got? Okay, what is it? Talk to me.
So last summer we went to Ireland.
Uh-huh.
See, I did not get this in Ireland. I actually got this beforehand, but did visit Guinness. But this is not about Ireland. This is about the layover we had.
Okay.
Because we flew Iceland Air and we had a layover in Reykjavik, or at least the airport outside Reykjavik, right? And with lunch on the way back, it was a longer layover, so we had lunch. I had a liqueur made out of crowberries.
What the hell is that?
That's a damn good question, Tom. I still don't know what a crowberry is.
Okay, all right.
Crowberry is it's a small black shiny berry that
Mhm.
grows, that's indigenous to Iceland, and they make stuff out of it. One of the things they make is this, and this is 64 degrees Reykjavik Distillery. This is the crowberry liqueur, and I think I erroneously told you that it was a crowberry schnapps. It is not a schnapps.
Oh, it's not schnapps. Okay.
It is not a schnapps. A schnapps starts off as it's a flavored distillate.
Oh, okay.
Right, so they distill something into a neutral spirit, then they flavor it. Much like aquavit, but aquavit has
Okay.
right. Aquavit has only two flavorings that are really allowed, and that's dill and what's the other one? What is the other one? I am blanking here, Tom.
Yeah, I am too. I haven't had it enough.
It is Caraway. That's it. Dill and Caraway.
Caraway, yes.
Dill and Caraway. So it's not an aquavit, even though it's Scandinavian. It's not a schnapps. It is a liqueur because it's fruit flavored. The ingredients are fruit and sugar.
Fruit and sugar, okay.
Okay, so they put the sugar into it. They got the soluble sugars. They get it into the fruit juice. They then ferment that, and then they distill it, and they come up with this. And look at the color of this.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
that-
interesting. So it's Icelandic.
It is Icelandic. And it was great because I was trying to get. So when we get online to board the plane, but I take a jog over to the DFS store, the duty free store, and DFS store is redundant, isn't it? Because it stands for duty free store. At any rate, I take a jog over there and I find this because we'd had it with lunch and I loved it. And I'm trying to do the conversion from Icelandic kronas into dollars.
Okay. How difficult is that?
When you got Google, not very at all.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
So this if you were to buy this in the US, it's a $90 bottle of liquor.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it cost me $18 in the airport.
Oh, you kidding me? Oh, my good Lord.
I should have bought two of them.
Okay.
So when I said I was taking a hop halfway across the pond,
Mhm.
that's what I meant there. Because you're not going all the way.
Gotcha.
You're stopping off in Iceland. So skull, as they would say in Scandinavia, that's their cheer. It's a skull.
So I have to say that, so my second pick isn't going to make sense anymore because my second pick was based on your description, schnapps.
That's still fine.
So I started with the Vietnamese coffee. So
Nice.
my second pick schnapps is peppermint schnapps.
Oh, there you go. Now, here's the interesting thing. Schnapps in Germany and schnapps in the U.S. are two entirely different things.
They are. You're right. That's why I said when it was played before the show started. That my picks were kind of a parody, or I don't know if parody is the right word. What's the word I'm looking for?
Parody is actually not a bad word. Not a bad word to use when it comes to American schnapps versus.
I was trying to go
German.
off of what you were picking products based off of your selections, I guess. So
For you, it'd be Prost. For me, it'd be Skål. But schnapps in the U.S. are usually sugary. They're sweet. They make sweet cocktails if you're going to make a cocktail out of them.
the only good place to put peppermint schnapps, in my
In
opinion,
hot cocoa,
is in hot cocoa. Yeah.
not straight in your face like that, as you can
No,
tell.
that was brutal. I got to tell you, that hurt a little bit.
I was just say if anybody who's watching.
I would rather have a barrel strength whiskey than to do that again.
I can imagine this though. This is so. This I didn't mention the ABV on this.
Yeah, tell me.
I believe it's 21%. It is 21%. So it's only 42 proof. It's not all that high, but it's still, it's like a stronger wine in a sense.
Mhm.
And
Like almost just a little bit more than your typical port.
yeah, that's actually that's pretty good because it's got a sweetness like port,
Mm-hmm.
but that alcohol cuts into that sweetness and keeps it from being cloying. And also,
Now, don't tell me everything, but where's your third selection from?
I am going to Japan.
Going to Japan. So I'm going to Ireland for my third selection.
But I told you what I was drinking for the third one in my text.
Well, the sake, yeah.
Yes.
But I didn't have anything like that, so I was trying to. So anyway, but I did go to Ireland. Some Irish whiskey called Two Stacks. It's a cask strength Irish.
Two Stacks is one of the better. That's pretty highly rated.
So you're familiar with it? Okay, great.
Yeah, I did. Well, you know me. I do research.
Before. So yeah, you are known for that. It says that a unique blend of grain, malt, and pot still. It uses 40% dark grain, 40% light grain, 8% pot still, 10% double malt, and 2% peated malt.
Peated malt, interesting. I don't know too many Irish whiskeys that have peated malt in it.
And this thing is at 130 proof, if you can believe that.
Oh, that's not good.
That
I don't know if you saw. I don't know if that was caught on camera or not. But as I pulled the bottle away from my glass, emptying this bottle here, a drop of it went into my keyboard.
Oh no, that's not good.
My keyboard is now drunk, so anything I type is not my responsibility. What did Jack Kerouac say? My typewriter's been drinking, not me. That was Kerouac, right?
So I pounded my second one quick, so I'm going to drink this third one slowly while you finish yours and get on to your thing.
just to get the taste of the first out of your mouth.
I would rather drink this 130 proof whiskey than do that again.
I don't blame you. But we're talking about schnapps, right?
Yes, yeah.
So schnapps, like we said in the U.S., they tend to be sugary, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
They make really good girly drunk drinks, right? They're put it this way, like Tom said, Tom's got peppermint schnapps to put into his cocoa. I can't imagine he ever makes anything else with it.
No, that's all. I buy a bottle. It'll last me about 3 or 4 years because it just goes in my cocoa during the winter. And I got to tell the story quickly though of how I learned how to do that. And I was about 14 years old when my sister married someone of the German Italian descent, and his brother owned a cabin out in Big Bear in California. And they would take me with them and go out there and do their thing. But they would let me drink out there with them. So I would drink beer. So they would make me cocoa with schnapps. It's the first time I'd had peppermint schnapps. So I've been doing this ever since.
Oh, wow. That's been a while. But then we also have peach schnapps is very popular. You can't make a fuzzy navel without one. Right?
Well, you can not shower for a while or plant some linseed.
That'll give you a fuzzy navel too. Yes, absolutely. But German schnapps are a whole different animal.
It is, yeah. It's not the same thing. Again, I didn't mean it to make fun of what you're doing. But
No, not at all.
Just kind of play off the words, basically.
Yes, the German schnapps will put hair on your chest.
If somebody would have told me that years ago, I might have some. I might have 12 maybe, but they've all gone gray now.
Yeah, I may have 14. I may have you beaten by 2. Kind of glad I don't. But yeah, so when we go to Germany, I do want to see if I can try some of the German schnapps while I'm out there. But,
that'd be nice, yeah.
But damn well, look at my name there. What am I going to be there for? I'm going to be there for the beer, because that's why you go to Germany. I will be taking a side trip to Bamberg.
Oh, yeah.
We'll hit Schlenkerla. We'll hit Special.
You got to have that smoked malt, yeah.
Oh, got to have the Rauch beers.
Bamberg, yeah.
But we're going to take a half-day trip up to Freising.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's up in Freising, right?
Mm-hmm.
what is it? Is it 16 years, 18 years, or something like that? Villa Stefana will be 1,000 years old.
Oh, is that right? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that town's going to be like when they have their anniversary party.
Well, that's going to be insane.
Oh, I don't want to get anywhere near Friesen for that. Oh, maybe I do.
They look pretty good for their age.
Oh, yes, they do. And you know what? I think they may have their recipes dialed in by now.
You look good for 1,000. What can I say?
I actually stole Johnny's joke on that. That's Jersey Johnny's joke. But then after, because we're going to be in Munich, and then we're going to go out to Prague for a few days.
Oh, Prague, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can't wait for that because I don't know how much you know of my beer tastes, but Czech lagers and Czech dark lagers are they're my favorite.
Oh, yeah, that would be, see, that I would love to do as well.
And they say in Prague that the beer is cheaper than water. And what they're talking about, if you take a pint of beer in Prague, actually they do it in milliliters, not in pints, of course. But if you take the equivalent of a pint in Prague and the cost of that, and compare it to the cost of a bottle of water, beer's cheaper.
That's awesome.
That was yummy. That was yummy. I'm sad it's gone, but it's been sitting in the fridge too long. Had to make some room because I got a Tavor shipment the other day. Here's something. Never order Tavor in December because as much as stuff slows down for the holidays, it took me a full month to get my shipment.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So never order in December. I wouldn't order from Thanksgiving on, actually. So now the crowberry liqueur, it's a liqueur. So being a liqueur, it is sweet. Right? This is just fruit juice and sugar fermented and distilled. So
okay.
I put this in an order that made sense to me because I had the beer. Then I went to the liqueur, ramped up the ABV. But now I need something to wash that sweetness. So that's why I'm going with the sake. And this is one of my favorite sakes.
Okay.
It's called Joy. It is, and let me read this because I don't speak Japanese despite my nomiker. Junmai Ginjo Genshu Sake. And that all means something, I'm sure. And I just don't know enough about sake yet. I will get there to a point. I need to explore the sake world a little bit more. But this one I really enjoy. Now, I'm already breaking one rule here at sake, Tom.
Well, yeah.
The one rule is you don't pour your own sake. If you're with somebody, you pour their sake, they pour your sake.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yes, that's one of the rules. But the other thing is, there's another reason I wore this shirt. When you pour sake, I'm going to put the lid on here so I don't pour more alcohol into my keyboard. But and I don't know if it's just Korea or it's Japan as well. When you pour sake, you pour with your right hand. Right? Because again, this is why we shake hands with the right hand, is to show that you're not armed. You pour with your right hand.
Oh, okay.
Right? Did you know that's why we shake hands with the right hand?
I didn't know, huh?
That's where that you can't draw your sword if you're offering your sword hand.
But if you're left-handed, that doesn't matter.
Then you've already got an upper hand there, right? Or an upper left hand in that case.
Yeah. Now, left-handed people will be taking the heads off of right-handed people, yeah.
But you pull with your right hand. Your left hand comes under here, under your arm, and supports your arm. Now, it doesn't really make sense if you're wearing a suit or a T-shirt or something like that. But back in the day, if you think about the customary costumes, what they would wear, not customary, that was the wrong word there, but the costume of the time, you had these long, and I kind of have the sleeve here, but they would be even longer, right? The cuffs, right? If you think about that, so you would actually take your hand and hold the cuff back, and then you would pour. So if you want to pour sake properly, you pour for somebody else. Your left hand goes under here, and you pour.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay,
that's how it's done. Now that's how it's done.
Information.
That's how it's done by pretentious Americans, and the Japanese for the most part probably don't do that anymore. I'm sure they do some of it. The Koreans, however, do. the South Koreans actually still honor that tradition.
Oh, okay.
I guess unless you're in Seoul. Seoul is so urbanized, it's so Americanized that they probably forego formalities there. But once it's just like in this country. A lot of tradition in the cities is that's gone. But once you get out of the cities into the countryside, tradition still is everything, right?
Yeah, you still got a lot of cousins marrying cousins out there, but
well, you are outside the Ozarks, so.
Yeah.
But I should have said before I drank this, kampai. Kampai. So we've had cheers. We've had.
Well, I'll say sláinte since I've got
Sláinte. There you go.
whiskey.
You got the sláinte. We had skull for the Icelandic.
Yeah, Prost.
And Prost for the schnapps. What I like about this one. Now, do you like sake, Tom?
I haven't had it enough to really say. What I've had, I've liked, but I don't know enough about it to really form an opinion.
Because the thing that interests me is I always ask people who drink sake, do they prefer it room temperature, chilled, or warmed?
I've had it warmed. You know what's that? Tim 96. 96 point. I don't know. I can't remember the James Bond episode, but yeah,
right.
96.4. I think he said
96.4. I think it's usually a little higher than that, but okay.
Higher than that? Okay.
I'll take that. Shaken Not Stirred, 96.4. 96.4. That was a good radio station. But I've actually chilled this. I do like.
But you like it better chilled.
Well, the thing about it took me a while to take the sake, and the reason being is I'd always had it warmed up.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens with sake when it warms up is once it hits your tongue, it almost pretty much evaporates. So you'll talk about a beer that has no mouthfeel to it, and that's a misnomer. We're talking about is something that's thin. It's still wet.
Mm-hmm.
When warm sake hits your mouth, there is no mouthfeel. You can't feel it. It's
okay.
And that kind of freaks me out a little bit. So it took me a little while to, pun intended here, warm up to sake. So I tend to drink it chilled right now, and I know that's probably damn wrong. I don't know. But I do want to get into sake a little bit more and figure a few things out. There's a few places that I know, a few sake, I guess they'd be called breweries, not distilleries. It's not distilled, it's brewed. There's one in Brooklyn I know of. There's one up the Hudson. So I've got to start getting to some of these, to these sake breweries.
Now it's referred to as a rice wine, but does it more closely resemble beer then?
It's funny because they will call it a rice wine, but the Japanese word for it is sake. But biru is also something that is attributed as a word that can describe it. More as biru has been attributed to beer. It's but it's closely related to sake, and I think sake is more like beer in a sense that it is a distilled grain, another fermented grain. Rather than a fermented fruit. So wine.
Oh, that would make sense. Okay.
So I don't think rice wine is actually the right name for it. I think because it's closer to beer, right? If you look, especially if you look at Dogfish Head has they did their Ancient Ale series.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Right. And they did one out of China called Chateau Jiahu.
Mm-hmm.
Chateau Jiahu it's made with spelt, right? So spelt, rice, barley, wheat, all these grains make beer.
Yeah.
Right. We do have rice beer. We have Sapporo. There's one brewery in Japan whose name I will not mention because they're the ones that down anchor. Fuck them.
So what's the ABV on that then?
So, but that's the thing. I think that's why they call it rice wine is because
the higher ABV.
Yes, because these ABVs are higher. The ABV on this is 17%.
So it's more like it's more
like a wine in ABV, but it is a fermented grain like a beer.
Okay.
So I don't know that you're wrong with either of them.
Hmm.
Anyway, but I was talking about Korea. So in Korea,
Yeah.
they don't call it sake in Korea. It's called soju. So I do have a bottle of soju over there, which is not chilled. Soju is almost always chilled, and I think it's a plum soju that Carrie had picked up. I'm going to leave that sit over there. I'm not going to chill it for the rest of this because this is probably going to be it for me because I've got a couple breweries to visit tomorrow.
Oh, are you? So where are you hitting tomorrow?
There's a place called Bakes Brewing. Bakes Brewing is in Belmar. Bakes Brewing is we could probably walk from Jersey Johnny's to go there. But that's where I'm going to be meeting Johnny tomorrow.
Okay.
But
you're not in Jersey as well?
No, I am in Jersey, but I'm in northern Jersey.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay.
He's down in central Jersey, down by the shore.
Oh, okay.
And
I've never been there, so it doesn't mean anything to me. I'm trying to figure out where you guys are. Okay.
So I am, if you look, basically the city that I live in is technically, the only reason it's not considered New York City is because the Hudson is between the two of us.
Oh, okay.
When I commute into the city for work, because I work right outside the Flatiron building, I walk 2 blocks to my bus stop. And when I get to my bus stop, I'm overlooking the Hudson and the skyline is right there.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's interesting because, when you do that all the time, you kind of become a little numb to it. It's not as special, but every now and then you just look up and go, that's the greatest city on earth right there. Everyone agrees. This is the greatest city on earth over there. When you walk through and commute through it, you don't feel the same way about it. I'll tell you that. But then when you actually start getting into what the city is really about, when you start looking at the restaurants, you're looking at the bars, you're looking at the culture, you're looking at everything that goes on in this city. It is such an important place on the planet. I do get that. I downplay it a lot because I work there. But I also am fully aware of the way the rest of the world sees it. It becomes very evident. I walk through the city, and on any day, I can hear 7 different languages being spoken. And some of it are the inhabitants, because let's face it, New York City, the United States is a melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest melting pot of all the United States is New York City. You've got every nationality is represented in that city. So sometimes you wonder, are they residents of the city or are they tourists? It becomes very evident when they come to a crosswalk if they're a tourist or not. You can pick them out real quickly at a crosswalk. But yeah, it's kind of neat. But Johnny's down by the famed Jersey Shore, not the Jersey Shore that you saw on the TV show. I
didn't watch that TV show.
And the one thing I like to say all the time: none of those people, none of those awful human beings, were from Jersey. Not a one.
So they're not an accurate representation of New Jerseyites?
They are an accurate representation of the people that flood the Jersey Shore during the summer.
Oh, okay.
And why we all hate them.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
I'll tell you right now. And Sopranos is also
shallow human beings that don't give a rat's ass about anybody but themselves.
True. And the funny thing is, people from New Jersey like to portray that image that we're shallow human beings that don't give a rat's ass about anybody else. And
okay.
We like to show that on the surface that is actually not true of Jersey. If you break down and someone comes upon you, they're going to come out and they're going to give you a hard time about it, but they're going to make sure that you're okay. They're going to make sure that you get up and you're running again.
So how accurate a portrayal of New Jersey is Bruce Springsteen and John Bon Jovi?
Well, I was going to start with Sopranos first.
Do that.
That's also not accurate.
Okay.
We are not all in the trash disposal business.
Okay. Oh, trash disposal business.
And yes, there is a rather large Italian American population here. The one thing we love to talk about on our podcast, Johnny and I, is that if you speak the tri-state area, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, if you basically northeastern Jersey and Brooklynite Italian, and use how they pronounce things and go to Italy, the Italians will look at them and have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it is not mutz. It's not mozzarella. It's mozzarella in Italy. Here we drop the last vowel. The last vowel.
Yeah, I
literally,
always wondered about that. Every time I hear somebody from there, they always drop that vowel, so I never know if I'm pronouncing it right.
no, it's actually very important in Italian because that last vowel will tell you if it's masculine, feminine, or plural or singular.
Mhm.
You need to know what that last vowel is. It needs to be pronounced. We don't do that here because we don't care. Our words. No, but let's face it. In English, the words are not masculine or feminine, right?
That's true, yeah.
Most other languages on the planet, they are.
Yeah, Spanish or Latin.
And for here, for the most part, if something's plural, we just throw an S at the end of it. No, in Italian, the vowel changes. So
Yeah.
that vowel is extremely important. So it's always pronounced there. And the one word that we always point to that is so mispronounced in this region, which the true Italians would never know what the hell you're talking about, is gabagool.
Oh, yeah, I've wondered about that as well.
Gabagool is what this area refers to for capicola.
Capicola, yeah.
That's how they pronounce capicola. In Italian, know how it's pronounced in Italian? Capicola.
Okay, I kind of wondered. All right.
That's how it's pronounced.
When I've talked to folks from your neck of the woods, I've heard the way you just said it, but I've always, so I've managed a deli for a lot of years. It was always Capicola.
Mm-hmm. And that's supposed to be. It's funny. So no, that's not.
And it was mozzarella. It was provolone.
Yeah, provolone and mozzarella, right? But here it's mozzarella, and it's still provolone because it's provolone. But there's so many other words that are just so wrong. Like in Italian, it's scungili.
Uh-huh.
In this area, scungili.
Okay.
Right. If you get I just blanked on the word for fried squid. What's I just forgot. It's just one of the most celebrated appetizers in an Italian restaurant. Help me out here. What help me out here, Tom? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh man, I did until you put me on the spot. I know what you're talking about.
Calamari.
Calamari, yeah.
In Italian, it's pronounced calamari. In northeastern Jersey, it's calamad.
God, so you dropped the I.
Well, also the C becomes a G for some reason.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Galamad. What? And the R becomes
What are you
a D.
people doing out there? You just making up shit?
They're just making up shit. If you want to laugh your ass off, watch there's an SNL skit, and I think it's the Brooklyn Spelling Bee.
Or the Brooklyn Spelling Bee, okay.
It's hilarious, and it's so damn accurate. It's scary. It's scary. But now you talked about Springsteen and Bon Jovi. Both are accurate. Okay, so Bon Jovi in his day, right? That hair of his.
Oh, yeah.
Right, where he was prettier than most guys' girlfriends.
Well, I got to tell you, when I was about 15, 16 when that first album came out, and we went freaking nuts. I mean, I bought the album.
The first album was Bon Jovi. The second album was Slippery with the Wet.
Yeah, but the first album, man, that first album was genius. And I've seen him 3 times live, but back in the 80s.
But no, he is actually indicative of Jersey, but so is Springsteen. Springsteen, maybe a little more so because you've got that grit.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that exterior grit, but you also have that behind the scenes really caring about their fellow man. And Bon Jovi's the same way. I don't know if you know this. Bon Jovi runs restaurants throughout New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, I knew he had that one. I didn't know if there was more. I remember seeing that he basically, lets people pay what they feel the meal is worth or what they're able to pay, I guess.
Yeah, and it's a genius idea, especially when it's a celebrity doing it, someone who's well known, because it's going to be trendy to go there and eat. And if hopefully those people that are going there because it's trendy have a heart and are overpaying for the meal.
Yeah.
Right. So
now he works in there as well, too, doesn't he?
Yes, he will. He will work in the kitchen.
Because I've seen pictures of him. I don't know if it's,
no, it's true.
Publicity shots, but I've seen pictures of him in other places, in soup kitchens and doing things and helping people in
No.
very places.
No, both these guys are really good stand-up human beings. In so many ways, Bruce gives so much money to people and causes all throughout the state.
I
And
know
he's
he's
just
been rather upset with certain Republicans using his songs.
yes, he does get. He is very much a liberal Democrat. You love him, Tom. But he's very much a regular guy. He got busted once because he was on Sandy Hook on his Harley,
Oh yeah.
and some people recognized him, called him over, and had him do a shot of tequila with him.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And he got pulled over after doing one shot of tequila.
Oh gosh.
And
Yeah.
I guess the cop wanted to make a name for himself because one shot of tequila is not going to really impair your ability to operate.
You wouldn't think so, but yeah.
And so they made a big stink out of it. I think there was a plea deal involved when the judge finally realized, okay, this is some bullshit right here. But no, he's driving around on his Harley. Some guys notice him. Hey, do a shot of tequila with us. And
Well,
he does.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a no-win proposition, right? So he does a shot of tequila, but if he doesn't, he's an asshole. He's pretentious. He's a total snob, right?
Yeah, but he's actually not. I have history with him, right?
I do.
And the one time that one of the times that I met him, we're talking. It's my brother, Kerry, and I, my brother and his wife, and it's Bruce and his wife, Patty Scout, right? And the state of New Jersey was so happy when he married Patty because he was married originally to a California model,
Julianne Phillips.
Julianne Phillips. And he finally realized, what am I doing? And he went and found himself a Jersey girl.
Okay, I didn't realize she was a Jersey girl, but that makes sense.
Oh, yes, she is. Jersey girls are cut from a different cloth.
Well, I'm a fan of her music as well. Her solo stuff is rather good.
Tell you what, never screw with a Jersey girl, man. They will hurt you. But Patty's there, and he, so we're talking. So my brother goes up to Bruce. Him and Bruce hug. And Patty, because this is during COVID.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. Okay.
And Patty yells at him, "We're not touching people."
Which would be very New Jersey.
And he's like, "Okay, yeah, sorry." Because I went for it. It's like, no.
It's instinct, right?
He's like, no. Bruce Springsteen got dressed down by his wife in front of all of us. It was awesome.
That's fun.
It was fun. But yeah, so I don't know. Jersey's a different place. We do have
I saw this Springsteen. I saw his a Broadway show on Netflix a while back, and one thing I thought was very interesting because he talks about the songs he writes, and then he says, I talk about the working man, and I've never worked a day in my life. I'm a total fraud, and I just cracked up. Because nobody's going to ever admit that, but there he is telling you, "This is what I've done. This is what I do."
That Broadway show is really a way for him. He addresses a lot of the guilt that he carries.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
He mentions your dad, I believe, right?
Yeah, he mentions my dad in there, and also the drummer from his first band, the Castiles, who were both killed in Nam. And so he addresses his guilt for dodging the draft,
for not going. Yeah.
And he talks about to this day it still haunts me who went in my place,
because he says if I remember the quote right, he says because somebody did, somebody went and somebody didn't come back.
Yep. And it's so I really, in one sense, is a really great look into his life. In another way, it's a little self-indulgent because he's spilling it. It's almost like he's in confession.
It kind of is, yeah. I mean, but the truth is, only somebody that possesses empathy and compassion would think in those terms, right?
Yes,
somebody that was completely shallow, somebody narcissistic, that would never cross their mind.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the thing. So when we went to, that's when I saw him last. He invited us to one of his shows. Gave us some dates. My brother geniusly picked my father's birthday.
Oh, wow.
We did not tell Bruce's manager or Bruce why we picked that day. During the show, Bruce says, as he's talking about my father, he goes, "By the way, today would have been his birthday.
Oh gosh.
And we have his sons in the audience today. So the fact that he put it together, that's why we were there. But I think the thing that blew me away the most is at the end of the show, he thanks the audience for indulging him, if you remember that part.
Mhm.
And so this is a way for him to see his father again, to see his mother again, to play with Clarence again, and talk with my father again. He put my father into that group.
Yeah.
That blew me away, that he had that much love for him, that he's in that group with his mother, his father, and Clarence, the big man.
He came off very honest. So I'm watching that. I mean, I have to admit, I cried during several parts of that show.
Well, I got to say, when Bruce called my brother,
I don't have the ties that you do, and it still brought me to tears.
well, when Bruce called my brother and I, and we stood up, we had both lost it at that point. It was, and after that, the waterworks continued through the rest of the show as he continued to drive the point home. At the end of the show, I did two things when I talked to him. One, I thanked him for letting my father live again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He's become something in the state. He's been honored in the state because of Bruce's acknowledgement of who and what he was. But I also asked him something because his band, my father's band, the Motifs, had a song called Molly, and Bruce loved this song. And I asked him, "You think one day you'd play it?" And he looked at me and was, "Whoa, I'm going to have to talk to the band."
Okay.
So I would love one day if he would play that song. Yeah, you can Google Motif Mollies. It'll come up.
Okay.
The Motifs Molly. As a matter of fact, the New Jersey Vietnam Memorial Museum. At one point, I loaned them a lot of the stuff that I had of my father's, and they had Molly playing on loop in the museum for a while.
Oh, Lord, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm. So it was that's
If I remember right, he refers to your father. He said he was I can't remember if it's a real or true rock star.
There's so many things he said about my father that just makes it hard for me to believe. When my brother and I were growing up, my mom and my grandfather would both, and this is my mother's father, not his father. His father was long past since then, but they would talk about how had he not got off to Nam, that he would have been, where Springsteen is.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, like, okay, he's gone. You got to build him up in our eyes. We took it with a grain of salt. And then we heard it from Bruce's mouth. Mm-hmm. Bruce, in front of us, he said, he's the greatest front man I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And we're like, what are you talking about? Because, Mick Jagger, Roger Daltrey, and you. Now, we didn't say this to him because we were too stunned to speak. But to say something like that. And he also referred to our uncle, Raymond, as his guitar hero. He's put that in writing.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Yeah.
He said, Ray gave, and he said it to us, Ray gave me my first ever real guitar. He goes, I really wish I still had the thing.
Oh, God.
He goes, but after that, every time that Ray got a new guitar, that's a guitar I had to have. Anytime he got a new amp, that's an amp I had to have.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
So he's got some serious ties into our family from back then. My brother and I have met him twice. We don't do anything to take advantage of that because we think that would sully and cheapen that relationship.
Yeah.
Right. That's not what it's about. It's about the recognition. And we love that he's done that. And that's enough for us. So, any rate, how was that? You were drinking the whiskey. You didn't talk about it, Tom.
Well, no, because we were telling stories. No, so you do feel that 2% peated malt. Most Irish, not all, but most Irish aren't peated. But you only have that slight, that 2%. You do feel it a little bit at the end. But other than that, it drinks a lot like your like you expect an Irish whiskey drink, known as a smooth, sweeter one.
Yep.
You do have that heather, that honey note, but in this particular whiskey, you feel that little bit of that smoke peat right at the end.
It's very nice. I may have to look into that. I don't, but you know me, I like almost all spirits. One of the few I don't like is Scotch.
Yeah, see, I'm not a big Scotch fan either. That's why
Because
I was curious about this one. And I bought this one because, well, you know me, I'm a cheapskate, right? So I bought it on sale. It was a $70 bottle of whiskey I picked up for $45. So.
Oh, nice. That's not a bad deal
So
at
I'm
all.
all about to buy. I like to buy good stuff, but I'm poor, Dave. I'm a working class guy. I'm going to get a bargain. I'm not paying full retail for anything.
Sure. Come pie to that.
What's funny is that I love craft beer and I love good whiskey, and whiskey drinkers love to brag about how they spent too much for a bottle, and I'm the opposite.
Well, not to cut you short, but I've got dinner coming soon.
There you go. So you finished your 3.
Yep.
So I want to thank Dave for jumping on with me, kind of the spur of the moment. We pulled this together because Dave was my very first guest. About a year ago, he just popped up in my Facebook memory. So hey, thanks for coming back to the pub and joining me once again.
Thanks for having me as your first guest. Again, very, very honored. I'm considering, holy crap, the elite guests that you've had on this show. I've been following along, and you've had some great guests on this show. And for 2024, I hope you continue that, to have the writers, the musicians, the artists that you've had on this show, that continues, and this continues to be the cultural mecca, just north of the Ozarks.
Oh my goodness! Well, we're the Ozarks, but we put our pants on the same way as everybody else. We just don't wear underwear out here. Anyway,
I eat squirrel.
I want to thank the Beer Samurai, Tom the Beer Whisperer, Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy, Sláinte.
Sláinte. Kampai.